see if Jota was fully up to speed, do you think now Maeda, all things being even, is the first choice central striker?
Do you know, if we were having this conversation maybe even 18 months ago, I'd say no. For the simple reason that as much energy he's got, the running power is phenomenal. For me, I had always a massive question mark over his composure in the final third, whether it was, to assists, crosses, finishing. But Brendan Rodgers did say that the other day. There has been a vast improvement in his composure in the penalty box. And that doesn't happen by accident either. Many times we've spoken on this show about they've got a manager, Celtic, who is capable as a coach of going onto the training field and finding a guy and looking at his deficiencies, looking at his strengths and saying, do you know what, if you just work on this, if we do an extra 20 minutes today and we just work on this, and it doesn't happen. You could look at it and say some of it could be freakish, but it's not freakish because it happens over and over and over again.
Yeah.
There's example after example of players that Brendan Rodgers has worked with at Celtic over his 2 stints who have just improved and improved to an extent that you thought, I didn't see that come.
Mm-hmm.
And Dyson Maeda is now one of those that is I thought his finishing was erratic, couldn't be trusted. He did have a lack of composure. The eyes would widen when he get into the final third. Now he looks like a different player.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost as if, because we always said about Dyson Maeda, well, if he only had that final bit of composure, that little last bit of the jigsaw, well, he wouldn't be at Celtic.
Aye.
You're now looking at a player who has been polished by Brendan Rodgers, and these rough edges no longer seem to exist. Mm-hmm. And even in the biggest games and the biggest occasion, he's no longer looking rushed or panicked. He's producing that final touch, whether it's assists or goals, and you can't compliment him enough. So, long answer to the question, 18 months ago, no, I would have said no chance. But this is a different version of Dyson Maeda. And I think now, if Jota's up to full speed, he'd probably be my first choice for the number 9 role. But that's not to say that Adam either is without his merits, as he fell apart in the last one,
Yeah.
Horses for courses, probably. And maybe tonight, it was almost like, the Bergamo blueprint when Ida kind of led the line. And that gives Celtic the ability, maybe, perhaps Dyson Maeda not so great at the physicality in terms of holding the ball in with his back to do big centre halves. Different story with the ball over the top, but maybe they saw Ida as a sort of landing platform. If he was required to get them up the pitch, he's obviously going to work the defenders because he's a big unit. But yes, I have to confess. And I don't know if that's the circumstances of the match more than anything else. That, as I said, I think Bayern had kind of come down the gears a wee bit by the point that Maeda went up there. But I mean, the first thing that happens is you start shutting Manuel Neuer down.
Aye.
Manuel Neuer looks absolutely spooked. Who's this guy?
I know he was what's going on here? What's happening here? I mean, 22 goals for Maeda this season. And I would say that I agree with you, everything you said. I think if Celtic were starting a cup final tomorrow and everyone's fit, everyone's flying.
Yeah, that's the front three.
I think he goes with Maeda.
Yeah.
Before we kind of finish, Keith Scott here says, don't be kidding yourselves on, lads. Bayern were a class above Celtic tonight. They eased off at 2-0. Next week, they wipe the floor with Celtic. Look, and I hate being negative, right? But I do worry a little bit about that second leg for Celtic.
Well, it depends. What did we say going into this one? They could get complacent. The Bayern fans who turn up, they're not going to be beside themselves at the thought of what Celtic might do. So it's not going to be that kind of big game atmosphere. It'll be a busy stadium. It always is. I'm pretty sure it'll be a sellout.